All right. So, welcome. I am super excited to talk to you about this topic that has made such a difference for me. I'm going to hop right into the share screen and go right into our presentation. Minimize this, come right over here and present. And then the reason you'll see that I titled this Time Blocking for Massive Success is because that is exactly how I feel about it. I feel that so many times we have such great intentions, and without an actual plan, it's so easy for the days to slip by, for years to slip by. And we've had this idea, we've had this dream, we've had this goal, we've had this thing that we've wanted to accomplish. And if we're not intentional about it, it doesn't happen. So, this is time blocking for massive success. I'm going to be mostly focusing on how you can create specific pockets in your day, in your very busy day, to dedicate time to building your Beachbody business. However, know that regardless of what it is that you want to accomplish, even for your health and fitness goals, this is going to help you. Okay. So before we get started, I thought I'd introduce myself just in case you don't know who I am. My name is Amy Coppola. This is my two beautiful children. I have been a coach for 9 years now. And so I am a full-time coach. I've been a full-time coach for quite some time now. So I don't want you to think, oh, yeah, sure, it's easy for her. She doesn't have all these things, without you knowing the background story that when I began coaching 9 years back, I was working full time. I had also decided to go back to college and take some classes in the legal side. I was thinking about doing some freelance paralegal work. It's a long story. But what you need to know is that I was basically at a point in my life that I was at rock bottom, and I was going through a divorce. I was going through a bankruptcy. And so I was basically scrambling. Whatever I could figure out to do, I was doing. I was in action mode. I was in do or die. And so it was really important to me to survive. And at that point, my entire resume was 13 years of accounting management. And that was okay, but I knew that that was not what I wanted to do forever. It wasn't something that I was passionate about. I just fell into that earlier in life and was a hard worker and worked my way up the ranks and wound up there. So I was exploring other ideas, also things that I could do on a freelance, because since I was going through divorce, I knew that I didn't want to be the stereotypical single mom that wound up what I had to do for a while, dropping the kids off in early care, picking them up from aftercare at almost the last minute of the day, running home, baths, picking up food because we didn't have time to cook, homework, go to bed and do it all over again the next day. That was not the way that I had envisioned my life when I was growing up. And although that was the place I was in, that was not something that I was okay settling for. And I knew it was going to take time and work and effort, and strategically, intentionally using every single minute of my day. And so I was determined to do that. And I did that. And I've accomplished, just so, again, you can have a little bit of a reference of the things that you can accomplish. 109 months in Success Club. I've never missed Success Club ever since I enrolled as a coach back in July of 2000, whatever that was. Two-time elite team, 7-star in my first center, first star in my second center. I'm in the Legacy Club, which means I've earned over $1 million with this Beachbody business. And those are all like titles and accolades and stuff. But what that has really given to me long-term is these amazing opportunities, not just for myself, but to give my children the life that I feel like they deserve. To be the mom who is present, who I wanted to be when I decided to become a mom, right? And so that means being really intentional. And I'm going to say that word over and over, but we've been able to travel. We've been able to do so many things. I was able to put them and cover their entire tuition. And the school that I always said, if money was no object, I would love for my kids to go there. They're there. They've been there 6 years now, and they're thriving in that environment. I love it. We love being part of that, and everything else that it's given me the opportunity to do. not just for my family too, but also the experiences that we've been able to help impact in the community. Or my son just got back from a Blue Missions trip, and we, have connected on all these different things because of the life that, we've been able to create. Thank you to Beachbody and the community and everything else. So lots and lots of exciting things that you can create, and we'll go back into it. So, the next question is, why is this such an important skill? It's important, and I've already mentioned this, but no matter what it is that you want to accomplish, I want you to understand that everything is figure outable. So many times we hear from either, people who we approach about coaching, or maybe even their fitness journey, often also their fitness journey. I don't have time. I'd love to, but I don't have time. And we tell ourselves that, but that's really just an excuse. You have time for whatever you create time for, right? If some emergency happened right now, you'd create time for it. You'd kind of be forced to, but you would create time for it because it would be an urgent priority, right? And that's not the way that we want to ideally live long term. We don't want to be just putting out fires, right? Things are going to happen, things are going to come up, but we can work and create that intentionality and urgency when we're really specific with our calendaring and our scheduling. So calendaring, I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. So it's an important skill because you're going to use this for everything, right? So what we're going to do very quickly in this workshop, the objectives, we're going to start with getting a snapshot of where you are right now, where your time is going. Do you even have an idea? Do the days just pass and you're like, oh my gosh, nothing got accomplished today? We're going to start with getting a snapshot. We're going to organize and identify the opportunities in our schedule, so that way we can see, hey, actually, I do have an hour here. I actually do have 30 minutes here that I'm just at school pickup line, or whatever it is, but we're going to organize and identify where those pieces of time are that we can use to really empower us and create space for us to accomplish our goals. Then we're going to align our actions with our priorities and progress towards our goals, right? Because you want to make sure that as you're scheduling, you are staying in line with the priorities that are important to you, right? There's no point in chasing something and creating this big giant time bubble for yourself to dedicate all this if that's not what you truly want, if that's not aligning with who you are. And that, that a lot of times will lead to burnout or just this feeling of emptiness, or why am I even doing this, right? So we're going to be really, really smart and align our actions with our goals. So really quickly, there's different scheduling options. Obviously, there's lots of people who like to use planners. In the Beachbody world, a lot of people are in love with Moira Kusaba's Rise Up planner. I know that there's lots of different options out there. If that is your jam, if you're a paper pen kind of person, absolutely go for it and use that to make sure you're basically doing the same thing that I'll be showing you in a computerized version, but in your pen and paper that you're comfortable with. There's also a phone option. If you have apps that you like to use for organizing and planning out your day in your phone, you can do that. And again, today I'm going to be showing you a spreadsheet. Accounting background, so you're going to get the spreadsheet side of me. But the reason why I love using a spreadsheet is because I can easily copy paste if I'm doing in the computer. I can copy the whole entire sheet from week to week. I can add in lines to add in different times of the day. If I have a 15-minute increment that I can see where I can use and label, then I can do that easily as well. So that works really well for me. That's what I'll be showing you today. But know that you can use this format in whichever fashion is, most agreeable and exciting for you. So this is where we're going to start. If you don't already have a pen and paper or something to write on or keep notes in, go ahead. And this is a workshop format. So we're going to start here. And we're going to identify your top 4 to 5 priorities for the next 6 months. And this is a really powerful exercise because, again, being intentional with what we want to make as a priority in our life. If we're filling our schedule with all these things back to back to back, and we really have this, priority to carve out time in the day for our spiritual practice, and we're not putting that in there, it's not going to align, right? If we are really intentional about having no electronic time with our families, electronic free time with our families, that's again something that we really need to prioritize and schedule in. So the different different stages in our lives are going to have different priorities for us. If you have, somebody who is sick, a family member who is sick, and you're caring for them for several months at a time, your priorities are going to be different than, somebody who has a brand new baby infant and the whole world is, getting this baby to sleep and eat and live right now, right? Or if you have a season of empty house or empty nest, your kids are just leaving to college or they've just left, whatever it is, you have these different seasons. So you may be wearing different hats. And I attended a Franklin Covey workshop years back, and this was kind of the first time that I had my head wrapped around this idea. But right now, for me, for example, the 4 things that are most important to me is family, my spirituality, my Beachbody business, and also my personal time, my time to invest back in myself, to grow, and that type of thing. Make sure that I am taking care of myself so I can serve and show up in all these other areas to help everybody else where I need to be. So those are my 4. And you'll see that carried over. If you're working full time and you love your career, well, whether you love it or not, if you're still, working full time, you'll want to have that in there as well. Maybe if you are married and being the best spouse is something that's up there, you could even create a separate category for that if you didn't want it together in with family. But, establishing new relationships, if relationships are big for you right now, whatever it is, identify your top 4 to 5 priorities for the next 6 months and write those down either on a piece of paper or somewhere you could see them. The next piece we're going to do here is identify and list out your 6-month goal commitments in these areas. And this is really important because we need to be realistic about where we're spending our time. And I just mentioned this, but if I have a goal, and I do, this year I want to help lead our team back to elite, right? And so if I want to do that and I say, well, I only want to work 1 hour per week, that doesn't make any sense, right? Or if you said, I want to, whatever your goal is, but your time management is not lining up with that, then you're just, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, for failure, all these things, right? So doing this, taking time, and you might need to pause this or, come back to this piece when we're done here. Doing this really gives you a realistic approach to setting yourself up for success. If my goal is to have the best, athletic body of my life, but I am not putting in time in my calendar for nutrition and for meal planning, then I'm not really giving myself the space to accomplish that goal, right? So your top 6-month goals, and just like the last slide, these change over time, right? We have different seasons. So for today, we're just looking at the next 6 months, and know that you can repeat this exercise as often as you'd like, as much as your schedule and priorities are updated, you can switch this. Okay, so now it's time to map it out. I've created this is a kind of a snapshot of what we're going to look at right now, but I've created this link that you can go ahead and type in. And it's tinyurl.com/schedule success. And when you type that in, you're going to be taken to a Google Doc where you'll see this spreadsheet. And within that, you can download it and use it for yourself. So you can edit it, you can change it around, you can change the colors, whatever feels best for you. You are absolutely more than welcome to do with that copy that's for you. You can also share it if you find this helpful with anybody else who wants to take advantage of that. Absolutely fine. So let me go ahead and share screen again. Here we go. When we open this link, this is what it's going to look like. And I know this is like the whole thing done already, so it might look a little intimidating, but that's okay. We'll walk through it one at a time. But the first thing I like to do at the top here is go ahead and list out those top priorities that you have. And I color coded them because once I went in and filled everything in, I wanted to be able to easily see, like, hey, do I have all the colors that I need to have there? Where is my time actually going? And it's easier for me to see when it's in color, these colored blocks. And so if that's something that's helpful for you, that's great. If not, you don't need to. It's just an idea. But here we go. This particular example is going to be for someone who's working full time. And on their career, on whatever they're doing, and then also wants to add in Team Beachbody coaching. And they want to make sure that they are scheduling in those little tidbits of time throughout the day so that if they can't sit down and do a full 90-minute power hour, they can break that up throughout the day. And again, this is things that I did when I was first getting started and working full time. On Mondays, I would pack my lunch because number one, it was cheaper. Number two, it was more in line. It was easy for me to stay in line with my fitness goals and my weight loss goals back then. So it was able to kill two birds with one stone. And then the third whammy is I was able to sit in my car and eat and listen to trainings that I may have missed, or, the history. There's like a whole entire, if you go to the podcast National Team Beachbody, you'll see the National Wake Up Call. You could go back years and years and years, and there's national wake up calls that you can sit and listen to. And there's a lot more training now that's available for you, like in the Champions page and even online, than there was back then. But when I started 9 years ago, the National Wake Up Call was like, that was it. So that's what I would go in there and listen to. Or if there was a team call with a training that I hadn't been able to hear, I would come back in during my lunch hour and do that. Now I'll kind of take you through the day. Again, I put starting time at 4:45 and ending time at 9:45. If I'm being honest with you, during that season of my life, my first year of coaching, I was not sleeping this much. I knew that it was just for a season, but I had goals that my back was against the wall and I was 1,000% committed to accomplishing. So if it meant that I was sleeping a little bit less that year, that was totally fine by me. I knew that wasn't going to be forever, but if you have the time and you have the space and you have all this efficiency in your schedule, you may be able to get in bed by 9:45. But if not, again, you can edit this to do whatever you'd like. For me, I find that early mornings are best for me to be productive, for me to get my day started on the right foot versus, hoping that I get something accomplished in the evening when who knows what might pop up that day, right? If I'm being realistic. Today, Angelina she already started back to school, but she wound up getting sick. So I had her home with me. So there's always things that are going to pop up. And doing my most important things first thing in the morning really helped me stay in line with accomplishing my goals, no matter what pops up during the day, right? And that's especially for health and fitness. So in the morning, I have my gratitude and meditation, then I have power half hour. And so this might be following up with messages from yesterday. This might be planning out my social media for the day. It might be sharing stories. It might be, whichever of those things from the business activity tracker that you think fit well in that 5 o'clock to 5:30 hour. That is perfect. It might not be inviting because it's kind of weird to invite at 5 a.m, but if you want to, absolutely go for it. But whatever it is that you want to pull from the business activity tracker and fit in there, absolutely. Then I'm exercising my 30 minutes, right? Right now it's 45 minutes with Amala, but whatever it is, you can again adjust this. Then it's a great time right after your workout to do a quick social post, check in with your challenge groups, do all these things. Breakfast and dress. Now, here's a huge one. If you're commuting, if you're driving your kids to school, if you're driving to an office, if you are, whatever it is, if you're commuting, that time in the car is sacred. That time is time that you can really plan ahead again and listen to your audiobook, listen to podcasts, listen to things that are going to help you elevate your mindset and also progress in your business. If it's professional trainings that you can listen to and not have to look at the computer, that's again another great option. But planning this out ahead of time and knowing like, okay, well, I'm listening to this audiobook this week, so I have 20 minutes from the time I get the kids, to school and the office. I have a 20-minute span. I can totally do a 20-minute listen to my audiobook every day there. Huge opportunity for you there. So then if you're in the office, let's say from 8:30 to 12:30, you're going to have your office time. You need to be present in your career, right? And then you have, let's say you have an hour for lunch. If you've got an hour for lunch, does it really take you, especially if you planned ahead an hour, does it take you an hour to eat lunch? Not usually. So you can do a 30-minute eat, enjoy your food. And then you could still, again, this might be a great time for you to invite. This might be a great time for you to, again, update your stories or whatever it is that you're doing. But this is another amazing point for you to quietly, if you have a space, if you can go sit in your car like I did, go get a solid half an hour of work in. Now you're back to your career. When we're driving home on Mondays, I highly recommend, if you're not able to tune in live to the National Wake Up Call, listen to that on Monday afternoons on your commute home. It's an amazing, amazing resource that we have. And I'm saying on Mondays because they are, especially with everything that's happening right now, we have so many announcements and changes and updates and so many awesome things coming that it's really important for us to stay in alignment with what's happening at that point. So if you're listening to that on Monday, you're setting yourself up again for success that week. So you can schedule that in. Now here, I am huge on disconnecting. I'll tell you right now, I am huge on it. I think it's very imperative that we honor our families, that we honor ourselves and not stretch ourselves into too many spaces. It's so important to be present. So putting your phone in the opposite room if you need to, all of the things that you know that might distract you, tune them out, give that time to your spouse, give that time to your kids, give that time to whoever you need to be with if you have a family that you are, connecting with at that point. If you don't, that's fine. Again, you can completely edit this and do this however you'd like. So here I have in yellow blocked out family time between 6 to 8:30, right? So that's family time. Then here we go. I've got another awesome time here that I can do invites, I can do trainings, I can do follow-ups, I can jump on the Diesel Nation training call if they're doing one that Monday night. All of these things I can do between 8:30 to 9:30. If you have a spouse or someone who's able to help you put the kids to bed, if 8:30 is not happening, this is a great time for you to have an open conversation with them and invite them in, ask them to support you by helping you with that task. A lot of times, maybe we're quiet about what we want to do with this business. And I think it's so important to not only talk about it, but share and then back it up with that action. So if they decide that they're going to help you out and make sure those kids stay in bed at 8:30 and you're outside watching Real Housewives, that's probably not going to go over very well. Versus if they see you right at 8:30, opening up your stuff, getting in line with whatever it is that you need to get done, I think that's going to go a lot better, right? So be really intentional when you sit down, boom, right to it. And then of course, disconnecting for a bit right before you head to bed. So this kind of repeats from day to day. Again, if your schedule varies from day to day, mine does. With my shared custody, the kids stay with their dad on Wednesday. So I can change things around a bit more on Wednesdays. Same thing with every other weekend. And let's talk about the weekends real quick. Yes, you could choose to sleep in on Saturday mornings, but I say, why? Why would you do? I know you love sleep, but there are so many things that when you want to build something, when you want to accomplish a goal, that becomes so much more important than the comfort of another hour in bed, right? That becomes the time that it's like, no, this is my go time. And this is where discipline comes in too, right? Because yeah, you could sleep in, but then maybe your kids, for example, my daughter has soccer. So every Saturday morning, I know if I'm not up early and getting this stuff in before that, again, it's likely not going to happen on a Saturday afternoon coming home from soccer and who knows what else, it's likely not going to happen. So I choose on Saturdays to still get up, do all my things and get everything done before we head out the door for whatever. If we have nothing planned that day, awesome. Even better, I can hang out with the kids, be entirely present, do whatever we want to do, beach, pool, whatever. Sunday, since there's usually a rest day, I will sleep in a little bit more. And we usually have slower days on Sundays just in our family. Again, you can customize, but Sundays we'll go to church at 11. So I can sleep in. We're not having our workouts on Sunday mornings. So I can do all my things, including looking at this really quickly, scheduling my week ahead before, with still sleeping in a bit and going out. So anyhow, once you've completed this whole thing, you can kind of take a look. I mean, the colors show, but also you can take a look and make sure that you're putting in the amount of time that you want to in each of these areas, and then you're able to edit. Let's go back to our presentation real quick. And we are almost wrapping up here. But the next piece that I wanted to talk about was one of the last pieces that's really, really important. And I showed it I didn't highlight it right now, but the top of that spreadsheet, there's a gray column and it says percentage to celebrate. And that's because just like our challengers, when they start a new program, if they miss a day and they've been doing so good, but then they had a day that went a little wonky and they think that they should just quit. Don't you feel like going, no, 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 no. You celebrate that you've done 4 days great. Oops, you had a slip up, and then you get right back on it and you learn from that. Like, what did work, what didn't work, where did I have a challenge? So it's so important to give yourself that same grace, to not get down when it doesn't work out the first time. It's not going to work out the first time. With as much as, as planning as we want to do, things are going to pop up sometimes. Somebody's going to get, something's going to happen. And we have to be able to be flexible and give ourselves grace to stay consistent with this long term. So at the top of that, you're going to see like there's a spot to put in the percentage that you were able to accomplish. And if you're at 70% on week one, that is freaking amazing. Like, that is unheard of. So if you're coming in at a 40 or 50, that's okay too. You're going to see, especially in these first few weeks, what is working. You're going to celebrate what is working, right? And reaffirm, yes, I'm doing great with that. And then you're going to adjust and progress. So whatever is not working, maybe you didn't give yourself enough time to wake up in the morning. Maybe you didn't give the school drop-off line as much time as it's taking. Maybe you didn't give yourself enough time for dinner. Adjust and see where it needs to be updated, and then move along. And the next week, we'll see, how is it getting better? What else has popped up? What else? Does anything else need to change? Is there a new priority that I need to account for? All of these things are just part of growing. But the most important thing for you to understand is that when you have something that is just driving you, and this is going to be your why, right? And that's why I wanted you to think about your goals first. When you have something that's driving you, you are going to find a way to do it. You're going to find the time in the day. You're going to create the priority in your scheduling to really accomplish that. And earlier on the live workshop, I shared, when I was first starting, I was in that desperate place and I just wanted to get Shakeology. And I thought, who am I going through bankruptcy to spend $100 on Shakeology, even though I really, really, really wanted to add Shakeology to my fitness regimen. I was having such great success with the workouts and wanted so badly to do that. And I saw Becky with her abs and I thought, well, if I get Shakeology, maybe I can get those abs along with it too. And I knew too that having this, boost of confidence that I was getting from creating this progress in my fitness journey, that was going to help me out of this rut that I was in, out of this absolute, ooh, that scared me. Sorry, out of this absolute rock bottom. And so it was so important to me to do that, to put that in. And so I had to, in that first month, I gave myself the ultimatum. You've got this 1 month to get three clients enrolled. And so that way it covers your Shakeology. If you don't do that, you're canceling your coach account because, you gotta cover the Shakeology somehow. And sure enough, that first month, my first month in Success Club, I had the 3 people who wanted to join me. They had been seeing me and they were able to help me create my first clients and my first challenge group and all the fun things. And it was in that second month that I was seeing the success and I found out about this trip to Disney World. And this trip to Disney World was the Success Club trip that year. And having my kids at ages 3 and 6 and having been in such a bad financial space the last few years leading up to that, and knowing the pain that they were going through with the divorce, me aside, like, I wanted so badly to have that light at the end of the tunnel of spring to be able to offer to my children, to be able to take them on such a magical vacation. And so it didn't matter what was coming at me during that time. I was so laser focused on giving that to my children that I found the way. I found the time. I ate the lunch in my car. I stayed up late. I got up early. I talked to so many people. I pouted about the no's, but I pushed through them anyways because this was so important to me. And it goes on and on and on. My goals continually progress from there, and I have been able to accomplish them when I make them so connected to why I'm doing what I'm doing that it helps me focus. It helps me get really intentional with this time. It helps me on a rainy weekend that's coming up here in Miami with Tropical Storm Fred passing through and dumping all this rain. Yeah, I could lay in bed and Netflix and chill all day, right? Or I could say, this is going to be a really great weekend to use my calendar to line up a bunch of new coach calls, right? And it gives me that focus, it gives me the drive. And so it's important, that step about the goals. It's important to really understand with why, why you are doing what you're doing and really connect with that on a very deep level, because when there's a will, there is a way. And that applies to anything, your fitness, your finances, your relationships, your all of these things. It boils down to when there's a will, there's a way. So this time management is another tool to help you accomplish your why, but that why and that goal really needs to be so important. And it doesn't have to be life or death. It just needs to be important to you. So if that Louis Vuitton purse is important to you, then make it your why. If putting gas in your car to be able to go visit your family is important to you, then make it your why. If creating a special experience for your children, or saying, I'm no longer going to be working 2 jobs or 3 jobs or all of these things where I'm never able to be with my kids. I have to have other people raising my kids because I can't be present because I'm just trying to make the ends meet. Sister, you got to find the time, and you can and you will. And I will be so excited for you. I'll be cheering you along the whole way. But use this, give yourself grace as you adjust to it. Learn, what works, what doesn't work. Continue moving forward and update this every so often. I just did it, I'll do it for the summer, I'll do it for the fall, I'll do it for the new year. And whenever it starts not working, or I'm noticing that I'm not being, as efficient with my time, I'll come back in and do it again and tweak where need be. This isn't always, evolving thing, just like our fitness journey, just like tracking our meals or our containers or our plates. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you got a lot out of this today, and that this helps you create the success in your business and in your life that you are really accomplished to committing. Have a great day.